What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Canadian Football Fanatics YouTube channel. And thank you guys for checking out another video. Season preview number 5 coming at you guys today as we take a trip up to Kamloops and joined by Coach Vankoughnett, here shortly to preview his team's 2025 campaign as we have been doing and taking our trip around the BCFC. But before we're joined by Coach, of course, we had to remind you guys, of course, like the video, comment down below. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. When you guys subscribe, press the notification bell. You guys get notified every single time we go live or upload a video to the channel. And of course, you guys can follow us on our social media platforms at Canadian Football Fanatics on Instagram, as well as on Twitter at _CF Fanatics over there as well. So, as mentioned, folks, season preview number 5. So hopefully you guys have been following along the way as we started in Nanaimo, worked our way to Okanagan, back down to Langford and West Shore, and then we took a trip up to the valley, and now we get up to Kamloops to preview their season as we are 10 days out from the start of the 2025 BCFC season. So without further ado, let's bring in Coach Vankoughnett right now, head coach of the Kamloops Broncos. Coach, thanks for joining us. How are we doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Of course, Coach. So I believe you're actually up at Hillside Stadium right now. I don't know if you're just before practice, after practice, but how's it been to get on the field, see your team up in person for the first time this year? I guess not first time, but as we near towards the regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to get going. It's always great to get back on the field after a long off season. We had our spring camp up here earlier this year, so it was great to get all the guys out then. And this is where the real work starts, obviously, now in main camp leading into the regular season. Like you said, 10 days out. We're excited. We're ready to go.
So, Coach, you talked about a little bit the off season, the recruiting process as well. If you don't mind, maybe starting there and talking a little bit about your guys' process, the recruiting, as well as maybe a little teaser for maybe some players and recruits to watch for this upcoming season for the Kamloops Broncos.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good off season for us. It was one that was very focused in recruiting. After last season, obviously, we didn't have the outcome we were looking for, but with things where they were in the organization, we were happy to field a team. And this year, we're ready to come back and be a little bit more competitive and be in every single game is kind of our goal. So. The focus was not only bringing in talented players that can compete to play right away, but loading up on our depth as well. That was a big focus for us, and we're excited about the new group of guys we got here and the first-year players, and we're ready to go.
You talked about, being a little bit more competitive in all your ball games this year, Coach. The long off season, I'm sure you had the opportunity to kind of, dissect your team and look at areas that maybe you'd want to improve. What are maybe some of those areas that you don't mind sharing of kind of for your team to maybe take a next step in the right direction this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think it all starts at the line of scrimmage. That's been a big point of focus for us. We brought in some very talented young linemen that are competing every day and getting better as they translate from the high school level to this level of football, where it's quite a bit more physical and faster. And then just across the board, we've got some good, solid veteran players returning, and bringing in young guys to push them and complement those roster spots is kind of what we've been looking for. And we're excited with the day-to-day growth that we've been seeing on both offense, defense, and special teams here throughout camp so far.
Going back and looking at the film from last year, Coach, I'm sure there were some positives that you liked as well. What are some of maybe those strengths you'd like to kind of maybe build on going into this season and really hit the ground running?
Yeah, I think if you look at last year, obviously the receiver room is quite talented. We lost All-Star and All-Canadian Caleb Sens. He's off at U Sports now with the Regina Rams, and we wish him all the best. But that's a big hole to fill. So it's been a nice competitive competition in camp to see not only who's going to replace him in that playmaking receiver spot, but who's going to replace him as a dynamic returner as well. So those are some really good competitions that we've had right off the bat. We returned Colton Me, Brock Dufort, Corey Jeeves, Ty Holmes, Colton Peterson. So 4 of the 5 starters in the receiving core from last year is back. And then we've got Cam Bam Bam Jagorchik coming back for his 5th year as well. So the pieces are there on offense. We just need to do a better job growing from last year, running a good Canadian offense, growing our system, and moving the chains and keeping our defense off the field, because we had lots of good bright spots in our defense last year, but it's tough to play a full game when you're on the field for 70, 80 snaps. So holding on to the ball, making better decisions is a focus for us this year.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned him there a couple of times, and not only one of the best players in, the conference, but I would think one of the best players in the country. Colton Me, as you mentioned, Coach. Just maybe elaborate a little bit and talk a little bit more about him, his skill set, what he brings to you guys, as well as obviously the spotlight that comes with Colton in the last 2 seasons, being able to take part with the BC Lions, get some preseason action as well, and I mean getting some pretty rave reviews, right? Especially for a young guy up there. I believe last year he was probably one of the younger guys in the entire CFL training camp, all 9 teams. I believe he was about 20 years of age. So as I mentioned, just talk a little bit more about Colton, kind of what he brings to you guys.
Yeah, Colton's great, man. We're excited to have him in our program and excited to have him on our team. That's one of the blessings about junior football is Colton's going to be a heavy duty mechanic one day long after he's done football. So you can't go to U Sports and do heavy duty mechanic school, right? So he's getting his trade done, getting his apprentice hours in here, and we're lucky that we get to have him play for us. He's stepped into more of a leadership role. Like he's going into his 5th season, but he's only his 3rd year of eligibility because he played with us back in grade 11 and grade 12 when he first started playing here. So, yeah, 20-year-old kid at BC Lions training camp, and he obviously was trying to make the team, and the Lions decided to have him come back and continue to work with them. Similar situation with Jacob Bond, where they're going to stay in the Lions junior exemption program. But he's stepped into a leadership role this year, which is great to see. And then something he's always done is he's always led by example. It's not often on programs that your best player is also one of your best people. So you can count on him being first in, last out, never afraid to do the little things. He doesn't. We don't have in our culture. We don't have a division between rookies and veterans. So he's out there filling up water, cleaning the locker room, just like all of our vets are. No different than what our first year guys do. So he's a big lead by example guy. He started to find his voice a little bit more this year, and obviously his confidence is growing. We just need to continue to put him in positions to make plays because that's what he does. And we didn't do that enough last year. And our goal moving into this season is get him the ball a lot, and let him do what he does best.
Talking about Colton, I'm sure a big conversation around that is who's going to be throwing him the ball, right? And going to this season, Coach, I think maybe there could potentially be a little bit of a battle and competition up there at camp. And I know a few guys, I believe it's Ryan's a returner, but a lot of young guys returning and some recruits that you guys could be leaning on towards, being QB1 this year up in Kamloops. So talk a little bit about that battle and maybe some of the names that could be potentially in the running.
Yeah, absolutely. Our quarterback room is definitely grown from last year. We've got 5 really solid dudes in that room. And we're excited with the competition that's been going so far. We don't have a clear number one. That competition is going to lead all the way up probably until, let's say, Tuesday, Wednesday next week when we really get ready to game plan for VI coming to town. But this weekend is going to be a great opportunity for us to see how the guys play with the live bullets firing when the Sun come to town for our scrimmage. So we're excited with the guys we have. Like you said, we've got Ryan returning. He's going into his 2nd year of eligibility. He started probably 50% of the games for us last year and did well. We've got a young guy out of Edmonton Huskies. His name's Kieran Beeler. He had some time with the Huskies last year. And then we've got a youngster, Chase Witzel, from Kelowna Secondary, who I'm very impressed with his growth on a day-to-day basis, translating from the American game, high school rules football, to now the Canadian game is a learning curve, obviously. But his progression has been great to see as well. And the ball's flying around the field, man. They're making the right decisions. They're getting the ball out on time, and I'm excited to see how this competition progresses over the next few days.
Talking about the offense, Coach, you talk about Colton and the quarterback who's going to be facilitating the ball to all your guys' weapons. You also talked about the having to replace the production left behind by Caleb Sens as well, leaving to U Sports. Talk about kind of what we can expect from the Broncos offense this year, as well as maybe a few players, as well as Coach. I've had to throw this in there as well. We can't forget about the Hoggies up front. So maybe if you want to talk about your offensive line room and kind of just as a general question, kind of just what to expect from the offense.
Yeah, absolutely. It all starts up front with the O-line. Great point there. We can't forget those guys. They're the ones who make everything go. That group's led by Rowan Munson. He's another guy. He's going into his 5th year of eligibility. He's still got 1 left after this year. He played with us as a high schooler a couple years ago and has just continued to progress every single year. So he's done a really good job anchoring that offensive line, getting us a little meaner, a little nastier. And then the depth we've added as well, too. Like on the offensive line, we return every single starter from last year. They're a year older, they're a little bit better, and then we just add our great recruiting class into the mix there too. So we're excited about what we're doing on the offensive line. A lot bigger, a lot more physical than last year, and they're really taking good steps forward. Quarterback room we already chatted about. That's an exciting room with some great competition. And then running back, we've got a fifth-year guy. We call it fifth-year magic here. It's just something about realizing that could be your last 10 games of football ever. So those guys really put it all on the line, and Cam's a great leader in that room. And we've got a stable of really good athletes there that are making some impressions. And then receiver, where on paper, if you wanted to look at it, that's probably our strongest position. Like I said, we've got Colton coming back. We've got Brock Dufort, who led our team in touchdowns, and you could say he was overshadowed by Colton and Caleb, but when guys are game planning against us, they understand they need to know where 19 is on the field at all times, because he makes a lot of big plays and does a really good job for us. We've got the two guys returning, Ty Holmes, Colton Peterson, both older, more veteran guys that have taken a leadership role as well. And then we've kind of got the Australian Swiss Army knife in Corey Jeeves, who does a little bit of everything for us. So he's our punter. He's kind of our H-back slot, and then he gets carries as well. So there's some good potential in that room. We're just making sure we put it all together and gradually grow on a day-to-day basis and continue to be better at what we do.
Transitioning to the other side of the ball, Coach, I know your side of the football, having played linebacker, and I believe it'll be Coach Dunster will be back as defensive coordinator once again. Talk a little bit about kind of the reputation that you guys want to be known for throughout the conference this upcoming season of, when you're coming to play the Kamloops Broncos defense, that you're going to be in for a long day. And as I mentioned, just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the goal is to put people behind in the sticks. We want to be aggressive on first down and stop the run. That's the main focus for us this year, is being sturdy and strong in the run game, and then turning the ball over and getting the ball back when it goes into the air. I think we've got the best ball hawk in Canada in Keegan Curtis. You put it up there and leave it up there for him, he's going to go take it away. And then we've had a bunch of guys that have been in this program for a couple of years that are really starting to develop and come into their own. So that's exciting to see guys like Jared Yamoka, Josh Thiessen, Lucas Patterson, all some names at DB that are really growing and getting better and ready to compete at this level. And then we've got some talented young linebackers coming in as well. We've got a youngster, Fenton Munson, which is Rowan's younger brother, out of a local kid out of Westside High School. He's made some really good impressions, had a really good offseason after finishing the high school season. We got another youngster out of Manitoba, Noah Johnchik, out of Oak Park. He's making some plays every day in camp here too. So we're going to have some youth on defense without a doubt. We aren't as old and veteran as we are on offense on the D side of the ball. But things are looking good, and that side of the ball is growing quickly every day. And then on defensive line, we returned Cole Mallow, who had a great rookie season last year, had a good offseason, put on some size, and hasn't lost any athleticism at all, and he's looking really good. Connor Shaw had a great offseason, doing camps all over the States and really growing his game. And then one of our global players, Big Chaz, he's a nice piece to add to that defensive line that we haven't had in recent years under my tenure coaching. We haven't had that size or that ability on the D-line to really plug gaps and leave our linebackers clean. So we're excited about where our defense is headed. It's great to see the battles every day in practice and watching this team grow.
And talking about some of the leaders on your team, Coach, I know you mentioned one there that I think is probably one of the biggest leaders on your club in Keegan. And, I think he's the one guy that leads for an example on the field, but also kind of, I feel like the intense nature that he plays with, as well as I feel like kind of, bleeding the blue and orange in a way, right? And being up there through a lot of thick and thin and stuff like that. How important is him and a few of those leaders that maybe aren't mentioned to your guys' group?
Absolutely. I mean, we would be lying if we wouldn't say some of these games have been tough over the past 3 years and where this program has come. These guys believe in what we're doing and our end goal. And they, like you said, they bleed the blue and orange. They lay it on the line every single day in everything they do, whether that's making sure we're doing the right thing in meetings and pre-practice training, on the field in practice, leading by example, and everything we do off the field in the community as well. Those guys are spearheading it, and they're the leaders that not only lead by example, but lead vocally as well. I'm a lucky coach to have a group of guys that lead from within the locker room. It makes my job a lot easier, and they kind of get to dictate where the culture is going. We always talk about being a family, and that's exactly what we are. When you come to play for the Kamloops Broncos, you're welcomed in the family day one, and we just build from there. And the guys kind of run everything that they need to do in the locker room, and I'm excited to see how that translates onto the field come game one.
All right, Coach, last couple for you before we get you out of here, Coach. Why should people up in Kamloops on a beautiful Saturday get out to Hillside Stadium and come watch the 2025 version of the Kamloops Broncos this year?
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun football, man. We're a competitive team. We're in every single game, and we play an exciting brand of football. Not to mention, where else would you rather be than this beautiful field on a Saturday night, right? So, we're lucky to have our facilities. We've got a great football culture that's continuing to grow here in Kamloops. And yeah, there's nothing else going on in July here in Kamloops, so come out and watch the Broncos.
All right, Coach. My last one that I've been asking, or kind of been ending our interviews with all the head coaches, is just kind of a shout out for you guys to kind of plug any way that any fans or community members can be able to help you guys out in terms of I know I mentioned last episode of it. It takes I believe the phrase is it takes a village to raise a man, right? And what does it take to raise a football team? So, any shout outs or just kind of reminders or where can the folks, I guess, find more information in terms of if they can support in buying, tickets to games, season tickets, sponsorships, billets. I know like game day volunteers is a huge thing in junior football as well, and a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that goes unnoticed, but is hugely important to junior programs and being able to run them successfully and being able to provide the athletes the best quality resources around. So, Coach, just any kind of information for the fans out there that they can maybe support you guys, as I mentioned in the tickets, billets, any sort of things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, that reminds me, I just want to give a shout out to my board of directors. They're the ones that keep this thing going. We've got a new board going into their second year here now, and it's made a massive difference in terms of what we do on a day-to-day basis. I've been through 4 board of directors in my short career here as head coach, so having the stability and having a group that really pushes the program and is pushing in the community to make us better is something that's needed in Kamloops. And I'm excited about the trickle down effect through high school football, community football. It's starting to grow here, and we're starting to get people excited about football again. And yeah, to kind of take after that, head to our website. You can reach out on, I think it's kamloopsbroncos.com. Head to our social media pages. We got a really active social media team on Instagram and Facebook that will give you the information you need. And then when in doubt, just come down to the field. We practice every night from 8 until 10. Come down to the field, check things out, watch how the team operates, and come support on game days.
Awesome, Coach. Once again, I know how valuable time is this time of year with practice, trying to get in a little bit of family time when you can, Coach. So greatly appreciate your time and just wishing you guys best of luck this season.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Go Broncos.
Head coach of the Kamloops Broncos, Braden Vankoughnett. Thanks, Coach. We'll chat soon.
Take care.
Awesome. So as we close out interview number 5, ladies and gentlemen, can't believe it already, as we are only 2 more episodes before we are wrapped up and we get into the start of the BCFC season. And that brings me to, as we couldn't throw it in to start the episode, but all of our reminders with the BCFC, as we are going to partner with them going into this season and start our collaboration with the content side of things. And this year, kind of started things off with our season previews. And then we're going to go into, as I said, with the weekly show. So if you guys are looking forward to something like a weekly show, let us know down in the comment section. As I mentioned before, blow up the BCFC's Instagram and social media accounts as well. Let them know how excited you are for the collaboration, as well as anything you guys are looking forward to. So, as mentioned, just to close out our season previews here, you guys will get this one probably on the 10th of July, and then we'll try to get the other 2 uploaded this weekend. And then Monday is the start of week 1 in the BCFC, and we'll try to get out our first episode of the weekly show. And then from there, folks, the season is on. So hopefully you guys enjoyed BCFC season preview number 5. Hopefully you guys can like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. When you guys subscribe, press the notification bell. You guys will get notified every single time we go live or upload a video. Most importantly, subscribe to our, follow our social media platforms at Canadian Football Fanatics on Instagram, as well as at _CF Fanatics on Twitter. So appreciate it for everybody for tuning in, and hope you guys enjoyed season preview number 5, and we'll see you guys on the next one.